Have you ever made a mistake so big that it felt like your whole world came crashing down? A single choice, a single moment that seemed small at the time, but later you realized it changed everything. This is a story about one such mistake and how even in the ruins of regret, there is still a chance to find meaning, strength, and hope. There was a young woman named Sarah. She lived in a small town in Indiana, a place where everyone seemed to know each other, where neighbors waved from their porches and children rode bicycles down the quiet streets. Sarah was 24, filled with dreams, carrying the kind of hope that comes with being young and believing the whole world is still in front of you. She had grown up in a family that valued hard work. Her father was a mechanic who spent long days fixing cars in the town's small auto shop, and her mother was a school teacher who poured her heart into teaching children how to read. From them, Sarah learned resilience and kindness. They weren't wealthy, but the house was filled with warmth, laughter, and the kind of love that made even the toughest days bearable. Sarah's dream was simple yet powerful. She wanted to become a nurse. She wanted to be the person who held a hand when someone was in pain, the one who stayed calm when fear filled the room, the one who helped people heal. Not just their bodies, but their hearts too. She studied hard in school, and everyone believed she would do something beautiful with her life. But sometimes even the strongest dreams can be shaken by one wrong choice. In her second year of college, Sarah met a group of friends who seemed exciting, adventurous, and fun. They invited her to parties, late-night drives, and weekends filled with laughter and recklessness. At first it felt harmless, just a break from the stress of exams and endless assignments. But little by little, Sarah found herself pulled into a lifestyle that didn't match the path she had once been so determined to walk. One night, after a party, Sarah made a decision that would alter everything. She got behind the wheel of her car after drinking, telling herself she was fine, that she had done it before and nothing bad had happened. She laughed with her friends in the back seat, music blasting, her confidence high. But confidence doesn't protect you from consequences. Just a few miles from campus, the car swerved. In a split second, what felt like control turned into chaos. Tires screeched, glass shattered, and everything went dark. When Sarah opened her eyes again, she was in a hospital bed. Her body ached, her head spun, and panic set in as memories began to return. She asked for her friends, desperate to hear that they were okay. But the silence in the room was deafening. Finally, a doctor came in, his face heavy with sorrow. One of her friends hadn't survived. Those words hit Sarah like a weight crushing her chest. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. The reality sank in. Her mistake, her choice, had cost someone their life. In the days that followed, her world collapsed completely. She faced the anger of her friend's family, the disappointment in her parents' eyes, the judgment of her community. College felt impossible. Nursing school felt like a dream that belonged to another version of herself. She was drowning in guilt, unable to forgive herself for what she had done. There were nights when Sarah couldn't sleep, nights when she replayed the moment again and again in her head, asking why she didn't just hand over the keys, why she thought she was invincible, why she hadn't listened to the quiet voice inside her that told her it wasn't worth the risk. For months, she lived in the shadow of regret. But sometimes rock bottom is the only place where true reflection begins. One evening, Sarah found herself sitting on the porch of her childhood home. Her father sat down beside her, quiet for a long time before finally saying, "Sarah, you made a mistake, a terrible one. But if you spend your whole life staring at that moment, you'll miss every chance you have to honor the life that was lost. You can't undo what happened, but you can choose what you do from here." Those words planted something inside Sarah. At first, it was just a tiny seed of thought, but over time it grew. Maybe she couldn't erase the past. Maybe she couldn't bring her friend back. But perhaps she could live differently. Perhaps she could take her pain and turn it into purpose. Slowly, Sarah returned to school. It wasn't easy. People whispered. She carried shame like a weight on her shoulders. But she pushed through, reminding herself of her dream, of why she wanted to be a nurse in the first place. She knew now more than ever what it meant to be fragile, what it meant to be broken. And that gave her a compassion she hadn't had before. Years later, Sarah did become a nurse. She stood in hospital rooms holding the hands of patients who were scared and alone. She comforted families who sat outside operating rooms waiting for news. She worked long, hard shifts, often exhausted, but always present, always caring. And whenever she looked into the eyes of someone in pain, she thought of her friend. She remembered the mistake that had changed her life, and she used it as fuel to give more, to love more, to serve more. Sarah never forgot the cost of her mistake. She carried it with her, not as a chain to hold her back, but as a reminder to never take life lightly, to never waste a moment, to always choose wisely. Because one choice can collapse your world, but one choice can also rebuild it. And this, my friend, is the reflection I want you to take with you. Mistakes will happen. Some small, some life-changing. But what defines you is not the mistake itself. It is what you choose to do after. You can let it bury you, or you can let it shape you into someone stronger, someone more compassionate, someone who refuses to waste the second chance that life has given you. If you are carrying regret right now, if you are haunted by something you wish you could undo, remember Sarah's story. You can't change the past, but you can decide what kind of person you will be today. You can live in a way that brings meaning out of the pain, light out of the darkness. Don't let your mistake be the end of your story. Let it be the beginning of a deeper one. Because yes, a mistake can collapse your world, but with courage, reflection, and love, you can build a new one even stronger than before.